Okay, gonna be brief on this one. I just got done doing an hour about The View, and thank you again, Braden. Um, you realize no one gives a shit, right? Like, the reason people keep saying on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere about these people shaving their heads, withholding the schmacks, um, wearing blue bracelets and screaming up and down. No one cares because we know it's all performative bullshit. You're doing it for likes, clicks, and views on the internet. And I know. Blah, blah, blah. Another thing, even if it wasn't performative, most of us who voted for Trump have one of these. We're married or engaged to very conservative, loving women who want families. So you and your ideology are fucked. Sorry. Them's the breaks there, sweetheart. You have zero sway over us. And to the single men out there who were looking at these liberal broads who are so mad because they can't have their abortions, well, let me stop you right there. Wouldn't it be better for you if you were able to have a family and put food on the table and raise some kids of your own rather than just going around and boning some random broad because you have nothing better to do with your life? Wouldn't it be a more wholesome experience for you to actually raise the next generation of your family, continue your bloodline? I don't know, kind of sounds like it'd be something that you should be considering, not just going around and taste testing the goods, so to speak. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did it too way back in the day, but like, at what point do you start to realize that that lifestyle is not worth it? There's nothing worthwhile in it. You get a moment of satisfaction when you get off, and that's it. And then you go about your day. Um, and there will be guys out there that say, yeah, but kids are a burden, blah, blah, blah. To them, I feel like handing men like that. I really do. I never would because, not because I couldn't handle myself in a fight, but just more because it's just not worth the time. They've obviously made it a point to declare themselves as like loser of the year, basically. Here's the thing, like, when do you stop to think about settling down and having a family? Because when you do, and it does happen to men eventually, like all men, some decide not to do it, but a large majority of them do decide to. Women like this, you don't want to raise your kids around that kind of crazy. Don't stick it in crazy, man. How many times we got to tell you that? Crazy's fun, but crazy comes with a lot of issues and a lot of baggage. I guarantee you, 100%. This woman in this video that we're about to watch, if she got pregnant, one of two things would happen. Number one, she'd abort. And if she didn't, she'd kick your ass out and tell you have to pay child support, even if it's not yours. Because there's a decent chance that a woman like this, it's probably not going to be yours. But here we go.
In case there's any MAGA men here, please know that these women who are swearing off sleeping with you and men in general, they're not shaping up to be perfect wives. They are saying they would rather die alone than marry you or be with you in any way, shape, or form. And just so we're clear, also, I support them 100%. You guys are shit. In case.
So, your terms are acceptable and we don't care. This was said by Shell Shock. And he's right. Either way, we don't care. Any liberal woman out there who doesn't want to shack up with a conservative man, your terms are acceptable. There are plenty of single, better looking, better mannered, conservative women out there to take your place. And I know this. And you know what conservative women also do that liberals don't? When you tell them that you're married, they usually throw up their hands and say, okay, nope, that's fine. Have the drink on me anyway, and I'll go talk to this gentleman over here. Y'all sit there and say, oh, well, your wife doesn't need to know. Sorry, but you can keep that shit to yourself. I go to a bar to drink, typically speaking. Unfortunately, we can't smoke in bars anymore because, having that Wolverine-esque cigar, and I gotta trim the old soup catcher down a little bit, but being able to sit there with a shot of whiskey and a fat Cuban cigar would be nice. But, you know, obviously that's not good for my health. That's my vice of choice. But I also don't do it every day. It's like a once a month or maybe even once a year thing. But we don't care about you. We don't care about your opinions. Go shave your heads. Get your BLM tattoos, which, by the way, one of the founders of BLM endorsed Donald Trump. You know, look, you people are acting so dumb. You won't even research the tattoo you're gonna get before you get it. It's so funny. It's comical, actually. I'm sitting here laughing at y'all because it's hilarious. Oh, well, we're going to go commit acts of violence and all this other stuff. Yeah, keep posting that stuff on the internet there, bud. Fun little tip about the FBI. Donald Trump has them pegged as partisans, and they are for the most part. I'll tell you a little secret, though. When you make threats of violence online and they refuse to do their job, Congress then gets to cut their funding. And they get to crack down on them in other very serious ways. So guess what matters more to them? You threatening people trying to be anonymous online when your face is on the fucking camera, or their funding and their ability to continue to do their job. I'll tell you one thing that they're not going to do. They're not going to sit by and let it happen, plain and simple. In fact, actually, Joseph Biden made it abundantly clear that he is not going to tolerate political violence of any kind. And it's probably the first smart thing the man has ever said. Straight up. Kamala Harris said the same thing. So you are dishonoring the people that you claim to have wanted in office. So you know what? As far as I'm concerned, you can smell my fart. I don't care. You are literally of that. You are of a fart in the wind as far as your threats go. Because I know, as a matter of fact, Trump won the popular vote. You are on the wrong side of history here. The right side of history just voted for better ability to put food on their tables. And I just got done dragging someone over the coals for this. Oh, the tariffs aren't going to do that. Yeah, the tariffs are going to do that because it's going to make our nation independent from all these other people who want us dead. You think China's buddying up to Trump for nothing? They're buddying up to Trump because they know he's the bulldog. And you don't fuck with the bulldog lest you get bit. And they're more than willing to play his ball game because they don't want that fight. Because they also know that once those tariffs go into effect, their economy tanks hard. Because it's not just a tariff on the companies, it's a tariff on China itself. So think about that for a hot second. Just think about that. He's not just going after the companies who took the jobs and the ability for people to earn money here in the United States, making goods for the United States and taking that away from us. He's taking the fight to them. And all of you morons who sit there and say, oh, well, no company's going to do that because then they get their child slavery and all this other stuff and their free cheap labor overseas is going to be still a thing and yada yada. Dude, no, it's not. And number one, you have a very skewed view on economics. You're actually outright economically illiterate. The only reason that companies went overseas in the first place was because we regulated them to the ground here in the US. Once we remove some of those regulations that, by the way, are unnecessary, and no, we're not talking about safety regulations, we're talking about the unnecessary ecological bullshit that you guys foisted on to these companies and made no difference at all, and drove up the fucking prices for having them to have to do extra processing and inspections when in fact those inspections are already being done for free. Companies already had the inspectors. All you did was tell them they had to have a second inspector in the first fucking place, increasing the price of goods. You demanded that they add extra chemicals to our gasoline instead of taking some out so we could track how much gas was being used, which, by the way, that tracker costs a lot of money per gallon. It's like an extra dollar per gallon in gas just to cover it. And you need like quite a bit to put this stuff in and make it work. And by the way, it actually degrades gas faster. I mean, seriously. You wanted to know where a good extra dollar in our gas, where it's going? There you go. Which is another point. We're bringing gas manufacturing jobs back to the US instead of relying on OPEC. Those people fucking hate our guts. Are you kidding? You want to go buy gas from them? Are you retarded? Straight up, I'm asking, are you mentally ill? Retarded. Meaning mentally handicapped, incapable of seeing why our gas prices are the way that they are. Oh, the president doesn't influence gas prices. And yet, what was the first thing Biden did? Shut down our own drilling operations here in the US and made us go on our reserve, use some of our oil reserve, and started to try to beg OPEC for oil and gas. Are you retarded? More jobs here in the US, cheaper gas. Yeah, duh, no shit. That's kind of obvious. And the fact that you're dumb enough to try to argue the obvious just shows the intellectual dishonesty that you and your party have. And you know what? Enjoy the next 4 years of cheaper prices. Enjoy consuming American goods that are healthier for your body and are not full of chemical crap designed to kill us and sterilize us. And I hope when it does come to pass, you'll open your fucking eyeballs for a fucking change and actually read a good economics book, not some Marxist piece of trash. How about that? How about we don't read the Marxist lies and garbage and go back and re-educate on how capitalism really fucking works? Pretty good idea, huh? Sure the fuck sounds like it. And yes, this is a profanity-laden tirade because I'm sick of you fuckers getting on here thinking that you know everything in the fucking world versus people who've actually done the studying versus people who are born in families who've profited and benefited from the capitalist economic system in the past and intend to do so again in the future. Yeah, no. You're fucked. You're fucked in the head. It is what it is. And it's just all it is. So you can go have your little temper tantrum that the big bad orange man did the thing. You know what? If I could get up and do the Trump dance, I do not have the ability to dance. Last time I danced, I stepped on my partner's toes, and I'm not even going to chance that. I don't need to trip and bust my head. Despite the fact that some of you liberal retards would love to see that. You know, it is what it is. I will tell you the one place that will be affected by it. You want to know the one place that's going to be affected by it? And sure the fuck ain't going to be the rest of the U.S. We'll just boot up the old manufacturing facilities. I have no problem bringing back the paper mills to the state of Maine. I have no problem with the idea of bringing other manufacturing jobs to the state of Maine, such as plastics, medical syringes, and other equipments, right here to the good old state of Maine. Bring us them jobs. I'll go work in a factory if that's what you're going to do, as long as it's made here in the U.S. 100%. And you know what? If you on the left have a problem with us bringing jobs back to America, uh, I have a certain bald spot on the rounder part of my backside that you can kiss. Because I don't care what you think. We have the popular vote, we have the Senate, we're most likely going to have Congress, we have the Supreme Court, and we have the presidency. We have the popular mandate and and more or less all of the levers of government at this point. Your opinion on this subject doesn't matter. We're bringing jobs back. We're bringing fuel independency back in a big way. And it is going to be great for the country. And yes, you might have to pay $1 more here or there. But let me tell you what's going to change. You won't be paying more for the gas, which means that your prices will go back down by a good $1 or $2. You're not going to be, and when I say gas, what I actually mean is diesel, because that's really where a lot of this is rolling from, is the increase of prices of diesel fuels, because that's what makes your trucking industry work. Without diesel, there is no trucking industry. Oh, well, what about electronic trucks? They can't haul as much as a diesel truck can. Look at the numbers they do not have the capabilities of doing that. Never mind the fact that they cost millions and millions of dollars just to make a single truck. No thank you. No thank you. And then there's the fact that those are basically powered by the same power plants that more or less run off of fossil fuels and nuclear energy anyways. So you people claim to be against nuclear, which I always thought was so stupid. You people don't know what you're talking about on that topic. I've seen enough nuclear physicists on here denounce that talking point at every turn. And they are straight up. They literally walk into their work and talk to their coworkers about this stuff and tell you where you're wrong. And you still don't care because they're influenced, because their job requires them to say that. No, it's the truth. Actually, there's currently in development in Europe small, almost household-sized nuclear reactors that can power a single home for decades. This is in the works right now, so I don't want to hear it about nuclear power. All right. The reason that your electric bills are going up is because the power companies are trying to milk you for what they can to get all that they can out of you before everyone is able to power their own homes without having to be regulated by a power grid. That's what this is. They want their money from the money spigot before the spigot gets taken away completely. They're trying to get as much out of it as they can. That's all that your power bill hikes are. Because they see what's coming on the horizon and the jig is up. But I'm not going to talk for an hour. I can't do it. I got other stuff I got to get done. But y'all are twisted in the head if you think you got it right. If you got it right, how come you lost? If you like my content, hit the like and subscribe button. If you don't and you're a liberal and you're going to have your liberal tears, do so in the comments section. Leave me a dislike even. I'd take the engagement. Sure. Anyway.